Hurricane Erin struck as the first major hurricane of the season, unleashing Category 5 power across the Atlantic before slamming the East Coast. Its immense size carved through fragile shorelines, driving destructive surf, fierce rip currents, and flooding that scarred communities along the eastern seaboard.
They're done. Oh, okay, they're done. They're done.
Communities in North Carolina's Outer Banks endured the heaviest blows as dunes collapsed and ocean water swept across Highway 12, forcing road closures and emergency repairs. Residents and tourists alike faced evacuations as the pounding waves reshaped beaches and left entire sections of roadway buried under seawater. New Jersey declared a state of emergency as waves battered its coastline, with rescues reported in flood-stricken towns where water surged into streets and buildings. Officials warned that breaking waves could top 17 feet, overwhelming protective dunes and sending seawater into low-lying neighborhoods. Farther north, New York and New England beaches closed to swimmers as lifeguards and local governments battled dangerous rip currents. Ferry services to Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard were diverted or cancelled, disrupting transport while gusts topped 40 miles per hour across the islands.
Army trucks out here.
How you doing? Well,
Sand's way out there.
beach is here.
There's sand.
Holy shnikes.
The waves made a little island. Look at all the birds.
Virginia and the Chesapeake Bay region also endured tidal flooding and erosion as water levels climbed beyond normal cycles. Coastal warnings stretched across bays, rivers, and barrier beaches, where waves carved into dunes and reshaped fragile stretches of sand overnight.
Brother.
Scientists noted Erin's extraordinary growth, describing it as one of the largest hurricanes in recent memory. Even hundreds of miles offshore, its circulation generated towering breakers that struck beaches from Florida to New England, creating life-threatening conditions far from its core. On the Outer Banks, dune breaches opened new channels for seawater, slicing through protective barriers and flooding inland stretches. Dare County ordered evacuations, enforced double red flags to keep people out of the water, and prepared re-entry plans for when the storm subsided.
Y'all, this is crazy. Flooding in Atlantic City. Black Horse Pike, Chelsea Heights. Look at the street, bro.
Setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're... That's crazy.
Puerto Rico had already faced widespread blackouts earlier in the storm as power lines collapsed under fierce winds. Tens of thousands of residents lost electricity, underscoring the far-reaching impacts of a system that sprawled across much of the Atlantic basin. Reports from New Jersey described firefighters rescuing trapped motorists and even restaurant patrons from rising floodwaters. In coastal towns like Margate and Ocean City, streets became rivers, while relentless surf destroyed dunes that had only recently been rebuilt.
That bed thing?
Oh my god, the poor Mother Earth, all that sewage and crap that's in there.
I wonder if somebody in there.
Wow. Never seen shit this crazy. Not even a crazy surfer would go in there.
Beachgoers across the eastern seaboard were met with bans and closures, as officials pleaded with the public to stay out of treacherous waters. Life-saving crews responded to numerous rip-current rescues, straining resources as waves and undertows grew more violent. In North Carolina, storms surge up to 4 feet, piled into communities already weakened by past hurricanes. Water utilities faced interruptions, forcing emergency distribution of bottled water in Buxton and other exposed areas where infrastructure buckled under the stress. As Erin drifted farther into the Atlantic, its core winds diminished, but its sprawling arms kept pounding the shoreline. Long-period swells continued crashing into beaches, dragging sand offshore and accelerating erosion along some of the East Coast's most vulnerable stretches. The hurricane's rapid intensification, leaping from a tropical storm to Category 5 in barely a day, alarmed forecasters and highlighted the risks of sudden shifts fueled by warming seas.